Picture this. You're standing at the entrance to the TSA security checkpoint in early 2026. You've got your boarding pass, your ID, and you're wearing your lucky travel shoes. But as you step up, the officer doesn't look at your ID. They don't scan your boarding pass. They point to a screen and ask you to look at a camera. Behind you, the queue is backed up, passengers are grumbling, and you realize everything you knew about navigating this moment has changed. You might be tech-savvy at home, but are you airport secure in 2026? If you get this wrong, you aren't just looking at a delay, you're looking at a denial of boarding. Welcome to our pre-flight briefing. If you are new here, I'm Elena. For 12 years, my office was the galley of a Boeing 777, serving as a lead flight attendant for a major U.S. carrier. I've managed medical emergencies over the Atlantic, handled cabin safety during extreme turbulence, and ensured thousands of passengers, many of them seniors like my own beloved aunt and uncle, made it to their destinations safely and with dignity. I've seen the toll that a stressful security line takes on a passenger before they even step foot on the aircraft. It causes elevated heart rates, high blood pressure, and a level of anxiety that ruins the beginning of a hard-earned vacation. That's why I left the air to become a senior travel consultant. I traded my wings for an office dedicated to making sure my favorite demographic, travelers over 60, can navigate the logistical turbulence that airlines never tell you about. Today, we need to talk about the massive shift that took place between 2024 and now in 2026. This isn't just about removing your shoes anymore. We have entered the era of fully automated, biometric-driven, next-gen security. The aviation industry has an obsession with seamless travel, but for the senior traveler, seamless often translates to confusing tech with no human to ask for help. In this 30-minute deep dive, I'm going to break down exactly how these changes affect you, your privacy, your medical devices, and your physical comfort. Consider me your personal guide through the new 2026 terminal. I've got the insider gallery truth to keep you safe and moving. We aren't just here to talk about rules. We are here to talk about strategy. How do you maintain your comfort and dignity while satisfying the requirements of a machine? Let's push back from the gate and start with some actually good news. For decades, the standard operation procedure was a headache. I watched seniors bending over, struggling with zippers, emptying their carry-ons of laptops, tablets, and that clumsy quart-sized bag of 3101 liquids, all while an impatient 20-year-old in business class was breathing down their neck. It was physically taxing and mentally exhausting. In 2026, I am delighted to tell you that for the vast majority of standard checkpoints, that era is over. The hidden secret behind this welcome relief is the widespread implementation of computed tomography, or CT scanner technology, in the TSA lanes. Think of it this way: the old X-ray machines took a flat, 2D photograph of your bag. If a bottle of shampoo was blocking a tablet, the machine couldn't see it, so the agent had to ask you to unpack. The new CT scanners are essentially medical-grade machines, similar to what you'd find in a hospital, scaled for airport use. They take a high-speed 3D image of your bag's contents. TSA agents can now virtually rotate your suitcase on their screen, peeling back layers digitally to inspect your belongings without you ever having to unzip a single compartment. This is a massive win for senior mobility. It means less bending over to empty bags, less lifting heavy electronics out of tight spaces, and a significantly reduced chance of misplacing your valuable tablets or expensive cosmetic items during the repacking scramble. However, as your protective consultant, I need to give you the one crucial nuance to this new rule. Stuff stays and only works if you pack smartly. If you have wires, chargers, and liquids all tangled together in a dense nest, the machine may still flag it for a manual inspection. My 2026 packing tip is this: continue using clear organizer pouches inside your carry-on, but you no longer need to take them out of the bag. Keep the bag sealed, place it in the bin, and let the 3D technology do the heavy lifting for you. This new tech aims for speed and comfort, but it has a very different implication when it comes to the other type of scanning. Scanning your body. We are shifting from scanning bags to scanning people, and that is where we need to focus our attention in Chapter 3. Let's be honest. When you hear the words biometrics, facial recognition, and digital tracking, your first thought probably isn't, "Oh, how convenient." For many of my senior clients, the immediate reaction is cognitive dissonance, a deep-seated discomfort. It feels like Big Brother has moved into the airport terminal. And you know what? As someone who values discretion and privacy, I completely validate that feeling. In 2026, the transition that began years ago is nearly complete. We have moved from identity verification to identity matching. The cornerstone of this new system is the CAT2 unit, Credential Authentication Technology, Phase 2. The goal of the aviation industry, the part they rarely say out loud, is to process a passenger from curb to cabin without a single human interaction. Airlines pushed for this because manually checking a line of 300 passengers delays flights, which costs millions. But here is the problem for you, the traveler. The system is designed for a digital ideal. It expects perfect lighting, smooth skin, and a specific height. If the machine can't match you within a few seconds, it triggers a system freeze and a human agent must be called, which often causes the very delay and stress the system was built to avoid. I remember a flight back from London Heathrow in 2015. We were boarding a massive Airbus A380 and they were testing early versions of automated boarding gates using facial matching. A lovely woman, Mrs. Eleanor Vance, who reminded me so much of my dear aunt, was trying to board. She was assertive, she had her physical passport ready, but she struggled to understand where to look for the camera. The system gave a red reject light. She panicked, thinking her passport was invalid. The passengers behind her grew impatient. The gate agent was busy with a ticketing error. Eleanor stood there, flustered and embarrassed, just trying to get on the plane. This is the heart of the 2026 problem. The stress caused by this confusion has safety implications. High stress reduces situational awareness. You are more likely to misplace your physical boarding pass, leave a prescription bag in a tray, or have a cardiovascular event if your body is flooded with adrenaline because a machine is blinking reject at you. We understand the technology is scary, but you are not powerless. Here is the part the airlines hope you never find out. You have options, and you have rights. Let's look at how to take control of that interaction. Consider me your protective niece giving you the inside track. Yes, we are in 2126, and the pressure to conform to biometric systems is immense. But as of this taping, the use of biometrics at TSA checkpoints within the United States remains voluntary for most passengers. However, if you do nothing, the machine will default to scanning your face. You are opted in, unless you choose otherwise. For many of my clients over 60, the concern isn't just the now, it's the then. They worry about how their facial map is stored, if it can be hacked, and who else has access to it. If you choose to prioritize privacy over a potential few seconds of saved time, I am going to empower you to do it calmly and correctly. Here is your 2026 opt-out protocol. Preparation. As you approach the CAT2 machine, the one with the camera, have your physical ID separate from your phone. The approach. Do not look at the camera. Instead, look immediately at the TSA agent standing nearby. If they are busy, wait a moment. The phrasing. When the agent acknowledges you, state clearly and calmly, I would like to opt out of biometric screening and request a manual ID verification. Be polite, but be firm. In 2126, agents are trained to expect this, but they will sometimes be stressed and try to herd you toward the machine anyway. I want you to remember that the system exists for your security, not the other way around. The safety implication of opting out is purely mental. It allows you to proceed on your terms using the identification method you have trusted for 40 years. The logistically driven airline model hates this because it adds 30 seconds to your processing time. But those 30 seconds of peace of mind are worth it if it keeps your stress levels low before you head to the gate. But what if you can't use standard security screening? What if you, like millions of senior travelers, have a medical condition that makes standard scanning impossible or painful? That leads us to the most guarded secret of airport security. This chapter is close to my heart. During my 12 years in the air, I spent considerable time reassuring passengers who were anxious about medical issues. In 2026, this is the most critical information I can give you. The old metal detectors were simple. They beeped at your titanium knee, you showed your scar, and everyone moved on. But in 2026, the advanced millimeter wave scanners create detailed 3D maps of your exterior. They are designed to find threats outside your body, not inside it. However, internal metal, external insulin pumps, pacemakers, and colostomy bags present a significant logistical problem for these machines. This is the hidden industry secret the airlines and TSA rarely discuss clearly. You always have the right to request specialized screening. You are not required to enter a machine that causes you pain, makes you uncomfortable, or could potentially damage your delicate medical equipment. I remember a flight to London in 2018. A charming gentleman named David approached me during the initial beverage service. He was an insulin pump user. He had been through an outdated scanner that was too strong and was terrified the magnetic field had corrupted the pump's software or changed his basal rates. He was having a health crisis at 35,000 feet, fearing he was either getting too much or too little insulin. I had to monitor him for the rest of the flight, ready to initiate a medical divert. David's crisis was preventable. For the 2026 traveler with medical conditions, your safety strategy is self-advocacy. You must communicate your condition before you step into any machine. The strategy for 2026. The TSA notification card. Get this card from the TSA website. Write your specific condition on it: pumps, pacemaker, joint replacement, colostomy. Hand it to the agent before you approach the scanning lanes. This shifts the interaction from confrontational to operational. The joint replacement. If you have internal metal, you should walk through the machine and tell them, "I have artificial knees." In 2026, the machine should identify this as internal, but you will still likely require a targeted pat-down of that area. The pat-down request. If you have an external device like David's insulin pump or a pacemaker, you should seriously consider not using the scanners. Instead, explicitly state, "I request a full-body pat-down and explosive trace detection screening instead of the scanner." You have the right to request a private screening with a companion of your choice present. Never allow an agent to intimidate you into something that causes you pain or risk. Yes, a pat-down takes 5 minutes. But David's flight took 8 hours, and he spent 7 of them in terrifying uncertainty. In 2026, we value our physical comfort over terminal speed. We have secured your ID and secured your physical body. Now, we must secure the other half of your medical safety, the part that airlines constantly target for confiscation. We are moving to the sensitive world of medications. Welcome back to the briefing. We have secured your identity, we've secured your physical body, but now we must secure your health. In Chapter 2, I gave you the wonderful news that standard liquids, your shampoo, your toothpaste, can finally stay inside your carry-on bag thanks to those new CT scanners. But as your senior travel consultant, I need to scream this from the galley. Do not confuse standard liquids with medically necessary liquids. The rule for medical liquids, gels, and aerosols has not changed in 2026. They are, and always have been, exempt from the small container rule. However, because standard liquids now stay packed, the TSA agents are on high alert for anything liquid that looks out of place in that 3D scan. If you don't declare your medical liquids, they will flag your bag, they will pull you aside, and they will open your luggage. I remember a flight back from Frankfurt in 2017. A lovely couple, both in their late 60s, was boarding. The husband required a specialized liquid nutritional supplement that had to be kept cool. They had packed it in their carry-on with frozen gel packs but hadn't declared it at security. The security agents, seeing large, dense liquids and frozen masses on the old scanners, pulled the bag. In the ensuing confusion and manual inspection, 2 bottles were damaged and the gel packs began to thaw. By the time they reached the gate, they were frazzled, and the husband was missing crucial nutrition for a 9-hour flight. We had to scramble to find appropriate alternatives from our in-flight catering, but it was a stressful, unnecessary ordeal for them. In 2026, we avoid the scramble. Your medications are your lifeline, and losing them or having them handled unnecessarily is a safety risk and a massive financial loss if you have to replace them abroad. Here is the CARI. Lead Flight Attendants 2026. Protocol for Medication. The medical pouch. Despite the new stuff stays in rule for shampoo, I want you to continue to keep all medically necessary liquids, gels, creams, and associated supplies together in a separate, clear pouch. The ice pack rule. If your medication, like insulin or certain biologicals, needs to be cooled, you are allowed to use ice packs or gel packs. Crucial 2026 detail: these packs must be completely frozen solid when they enter the scanner. If they are slushy or melted, they are treated as standard liquids and will be confiscated if they are over 3.4 ounces. The verbal declaration. As you place your carry-on bin on the conveyor belt, pick up your clear medication pouch, hand it to the TSA agent, or place it in its own small bin and say clearly, "I am declaring medically necessary liquids and supplies." And finally, My golden rule, unchanged since my first day in uniform. Never, ever, ever put crucial medication in a checked bag. Bags get lost. Bags get delayed. If your medication is not within arm's reach in the cabin, it doesn't exist. In 2026, we control our health security by following the declaration protocol every single time. We have secured your health and comfort. Now, let's talk about securing your time and your energy. Is the big travel investment of 2026 still worth the money? As a consultant, I'm often asked by my clients over 60, Elena, I see all these new scanners in the standard lanes. Do I really still need to pay for TSA PreCheck or clear in 2026? It's a fantastic logistical question. The entire airport environment has changed. With standard lanes now allowing electronics and liquids to stay packed, the old speed advantage of PreCheck has been somewhat eroded. However, the aviation industry has a dirty little secret they hope you don't notice. Standard screening is faster for the machine, but it's still physically demanding for you. While standard lanes in 2026 let you keep your electronics packed, you still typically have to remove your shoes, your light jacket, and sometimes your belt. For a senior traveler, this isn't about time. It's about energy and dignity. Bending over in a crowded line to untie shoes, balancing on one foot while holding a heavy coat, this is where stumbles happen. This is where fatigue sets in. In my 12 years in the air, I could always spot the passengers who had standard screening. They arrived at the gate already tired. My professional recommendation for 2026 is that PreCheck remains an absolute necessity for travelers over 60. The mathematical time saved may be less, but the physical comfort saved is priceless. With PreCheck, you keep your shoes on. You keep your light jacket on. You keep your belt on. You simply place your bag in the CT scanner and walk through. It is the closest thing the 2026 terminal has to the golden age of travel comfort. It's an investment in your stamina for the actual vacation. Now, what about Clear? In 2026, Clear is a biometric identity service that uses your eyes or fingerprints to verify who you are, allowing you to skip the ID check line and go straight to the physical screening. If you are someone who is deeply uncomfortable with the biometrics we discussed in Chapter 3, Clear is not for you. It is biometrics. However, if your anxiety is caused by crowded spaces and long queues, Clear combined with TSA PreCheck is the ultimate strategy. It bypasses the human crush of the standard ID line. It is an indulgence, yes, but for some, it is the price of sanity. We've covered the tech, the tactics, and the comfort investments. Now, let's bring this plane in for a smooth landing with your personal 2026 safety blueprint. We've made our final descent through the complex security landscape of 2026. I know it sounds like a lot. Biometric cameras, CT scanners, medical declarations, and opt-out protocols. But I want you to remember what I told you right at the start. Do not let the tech or the noise or the rush stop you from traveling. The world is still a beautiful place, and you deserve to see it. These rules are just logistics. They are not barriers. You now have the insider strategy to navigate them with confidence. As we end this pre-flight briefing, I've summarized everything we discussed into a simple 2026 Airport Security Master Checklist. Just for you. Electronics and liquids. Keep them packed in your carry-on, standard lanes only. ID. Have your physical passport or driver's license ready. Biometrics. Decide now if you will use facial recognition or use my script from Chapter 4 to opt out. Medical. Pack meds in your carry-on, declare liquids verbally to agents. Trusted traveler. If you can, use TSA PreCheck for shoe-on comfort. To keep bringing you these updates weekly while I'm consulting, I use advanced technology to share my 12 years of experience. This allows me to stay in the air with you, analyzing new rules as they happen so you never have to guess. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you already encountered the new scanners or the biometric cameras? What was your experience? Or maybe you have a story about advocating for your medical needs at a checkpoint. Comment below. I read every single one of your stories. They help me become a better consultant for our entire senior travel crew. If you found this NISA's briefing helpful, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. It tells YouTube that this protective advice needs to reach more travelers who deserve a stress-free trip. Thank you for flying with me today. Remember, the world is still a beautiful place. Don't let the logistics stop you. I'm Elena, your senior travel consultant. Your adventure is just beginning. Let's fly right.